Viewers, in breaking political news, 17 opposition parties, including the Trinamool Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party, plus one independent Rajya Sabha MP, have signed a joint statement expressing deep apprehensions, they say, on long-term implications of the recent Supreme Court judgment upholding amendments to the PMLA Act, and they have called for its review. This is the breaking story that we have for you this minute. Even as viewers, you have tracked this on Republic in its entirety, the two facets. One was the Supreme Court's landmark verdict, wherein it upheld the Enforcement Directorate's powers under the PMLA, most notably the power to probe and the power to arrest persons without, for instance, submitting an FIR, without having to present the ECIR that it files, which the Supreme Court said was an internal document. Over this, even then, there was quite a lot of chagrin from the opposition leaders. In fact, that petition against the PMLA Act had been filed by over 200 people, one of whom, for instance, was Karti Chidambaram. And we've seen since then, the ED has been unrelenting. We've seen how, with a lot of evidence and a lot of seizures, there are political leaders across the country who have been arrested in various cases. We have the examples of Partha Chatterjee, of Satyendra Jain in Delhi, and now we've seen over the last few days Sanjay Raut in Mumbai. In all of these cases, the ED has put together substantial amounts of evidence, and in all of them, in fact, we have seen how cash has also been recovered, most notably the frankly bizarre and scandalous amounts of cash and gold that were recovered from the aid of Partha Chatterjee, her residence, and the raids that were held therein. But now you have these 17 opposition parties sending a joint statement questioning the Supreme Court's decision in allowing the ED to have these powers under the PMLA. We have Aishwarya Kapoor joining us, our political editor. Aishwarya, tell us more. What are these opposition parties saying and how do you read it?
Well, at this point of time, this shows just a sense of desperation and frustration on their part that all of these political parties and these MPs do not want the agencies to work. Imagine this. Our lawmakers are raising this issue first in the parliament, and now they are ready to raise it in the court that the agency should not be allowed to act. They are saying that the agency, which will only act after finding prima facie evidence against an individual, only because they have been chosen by the people, only because they are privileged enough to sit in the parliament, that they should not be acted upon, even after if they have committed crime, and that's a big if. But let the agencies investigate. What they are trying to do, they are trying to raise concerns on the PMLA ruling of the court. But why? Why are they wary of the agency questioning these individuals who feel that they are more privileged than any other individual? That means than any other Indian citizen. Why? Why does a Sonia Gandhi, why does a Rahul Gandhi feel that they are more privileged than any other Indian citizen? Why? If the agency can investigate any Indian citizen, then why not a member of parliament? And why these 17 opposition parties are now giving a notice in the parliament? Why? Only because now you have even these lawmakers being questioned. Only because after plethora of evidence which is very clearly available with the agencies, that they have decided not to bow down into the pressure and question these self-privileged individuals. So what is the reason?
Absolutely.
If they have some facts to back it, then they need to come out. But the only reason that if they are member of parliament, that if they represent a particular political party, they cannot forget, Ankit, that they are in the parliament because the people of this country have decided to support and send them there. It is only and only because of the power of vote of a common Indian that they are today privileged enough to sit either in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. But that cannot be the reason that they will not be investigated by the agency.
Right. We are also at this moment, Aishwarya, being joined by Niranjan from the newsroom. Niranjan, the opposition parties are up in arms as they have been over the last few days. But what are they really seeking? Do tell us more.
Well, you know, there is this letter and they're calling it a joint statement by opposition parties. And it's pretty, you know, they're going on to question the order given by the Supreme Court recently while allowing ED to make arrests under certain sections of the PMLA. Their entire problem was with the arrests that were being made under PMLA. They want a review even now. Let me read out some of these aspects. In fact, the third paragraph of this letter is very scathing. And I'm reading purely from the letter that has been signed by 17 MPs as claimed by the Congress party. And these 17 parties say, we are very disappointed that the highest judicial authority invited to give an independent verdict on the lack of checks and balances in the Act has virtually reproduced arguments given by the executive in support of draconian amendments. We hope that the dangerous verdict, they're calling it a dangerous verdict, will be short-lived and constitutional provisions will prevail soon. I want to get Ridhamanand Bharadwaj also live on the story, Ankit, because what they have also done openly through this letter is to question the order of the court while the court allowed the ED to continue with its investigations and make arrests where necessary. So I'd like to go across and get Ridhamanand Bharadwaj as well, because you hear this once again. They have said, we are very disappointed that the highest judicial authority, namely the Supreme Court, which was invited to give an independent verdict on the lack of checks and balances in the Act. They are saying the SC has virtually reproduced arguments given by the executive in support of draconian amendments. They have basically accused the court, the highest judicial authority, of virtually reproducing arguments given by the executive. And they're calling it a dangerous verdict, which will be short-lived. They hope that it will be short-lived. And they're saying, we hope constitutional provisions will prevail soon. So this is a very, very scathing letter, one where they are openly sort of questioning the court, and they go on to say that they have deep apprehensions. Let's try and get some legal perspectives as well. Let's get some lawyers on the phone line as well and see what they think about this letter. They are saying we have deep apprehensions on the long-term implications of the recent Supreme Court judgment upholding in entirety the amendments to the Prevention of Money Laundering Act without examining whether some of these amendments could have been enacted by way of a Finance Act. If tomorrow Supreme Court holds that the challenged amendments through Finance Act is bad in law, then the entire exercise would become futile and loss of judicial time. They qualified by adding a line that we hold and will always hold our Supreme Court in the highest respect. And yet, we are compelled to point out that the judgment should have awaited the verdict of a larger bench for examining the constitutionality of the Finance Act route to carry out amendments. They're also openly questioning the court, the wisdom of the court in giving out the order. And the Congress party feels a larger bench should have looked at the matter